Hey, math friends. So our learning target today is that I can write the equation of a line in what's called slope-intercept form. So we call that y equals mx plus b. It's the most well-known form in all of something called linear algebra. Linear algebra means that we're talking about straight line algebra. So there's linear and then there's nonlinear. So the course that you're in really relates to linear algebra. So lines. So slope. We've covered slope. We're talking about the rate of change, the change in the y over the change in the x, which is the same as rise over run, which is the same as the line steepness or the growth. So we've been talking about slope. The next thing that we're going to talk about is something called the y-intercept. This is a new language. Y-intercept is the place, the y-coordinate of the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So first we would do is we would take a look at, let's say we have this line going through here. Maybe I'll change the color of that just so that we can see it a little better. All right. So we would be able to calculate the slope of that line. And we can see that it's positive and so on. After we calculate the slope of the line, what we would want to do is we would want to calculate the line's y-intercept. So the y-intercept is also known as like the y-intercept. So the place where the line crosses the y-axis, which in this case would be this coordinate right here. So let's just assume it's 1 unit up. So the y-intercept then would be 0, 1. That's the y-intercept. So we would say that the b value is equal to just 1. So we'll talk about that later. So the definition then would be y equals mx plus b. So we would calculate our slope. We substitute here. We calculate y, or we find our y-intercept. We substitute here. So y stays a variable. We substitute in for the slope. X stays a variable, and we substitute in for b. So all of our final answers in this lesson will be in this form right here, where we're simply just filling in for slope and y-intercept. So that's our plan for how we deal with linear algebra, line algebra. All right, so here's the steps. First step is to find the slope, rise, run. If we have a graph, that is. The second step is to find the y-intercept, which I just showed you how to do, but we'll practice that. The third step is to plug in, and then the fourth step is to check. We're probably going to skip that check step for today just simply because the video is going to get super long. If we were in class, we definitely would be covering that. So first thing is to cover the slope. So for the slope of this line, we can see that it's a decreasing line, so it's negative. The data points would be here and here. So we're going to go down, turn the corner, go up, turn the corner. So our rise would be 1, 2, 3, 4 units. And our run would be 2 units. So the slope of that line would be -2. Yay! The y-intercept is the thing that we just learned how to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all of this just for the sake of working off of a clean graph. Y-intercept is one of the easiest things to do once you get the hang of it. This is the y-axis. This is the red line that we're referring to. The graph, the y-axis hits the graph, that red line right here. And that is the coordinate 0, 1. So the y-intercept is at 0, actually -1. I misspoke. 0, -1. So our b is always the y coordinate of that. So our b is equal to -1. The place where it intersects is right there, where the y-axis intersects our red line. We only take the y coordinate of that because it's always an x of 0 on the y-axis. So the very last step then is to substitute in. So we get y equals -2x minus 1. And if we take a look at that, we can see that my slope was -2 and that my y-intercept was at -1. So my final answer then, the equation is y equals -2x minus 1. All right, so that's our first example of how we write in y equals mx plus b. It's actually a pretty easy concept once you've seen enough examples of it. So I would recommend just hang in there, and as we go, you'll probably really get the hang of it. Same process every time, just calculating the slope, calculating the y-intercept. So this next example, the slope here, we can see that we have an increasing slope, so positive. I'm going to just take these two data points. You can take any of the two that you want. So we have a rise of 2. We have a run of 1, so the slope is 2. I'm going to erase the y-intercept is a place where the graph crosses the y-axis. So if I find my y-axis, there it is. And where does the graph cross that? This blue line here. So the intersection of that is happening here at 0, 1. And we just take the y-coordinate of that. So the b would be equal to 1. So my equation then would be y equals 2x plus 1. So there is my equation, y equals mx plus b. That's my answer. Y equals 2x plus 1. Yay! All right, let's try another one. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Y equals mx plus b. So we're going to find the slope, find the y-intercept, and write the equation. Why don't you go try that one based on everything that we've learned so far and just see where we're at. All right, here we go. You should have tried that, right? We should be trying. So we have a decreasing line. We're going to go down, turn corner, go up, turn corner. Boom. So we have 1, 2, 3 is the rise, and 1, 2 is the run. So the slope, it's decreasing, 3 over 2. Sweet. I'm going to erase all that so I get a good peek at what is my y-intercept. I should almost start with the y-intercept just because then I won't have to erase the graph. But that's okay. I can handle it. Y-axis, there it is. Where does the y-axis hit the blue line? The y-axis hits the blue line right here, right there at 0, 4. For the y-intercept, we take the y-coordinate only because it's always 0 something on the y-axis. So we have everything we need then. The equation is y equals negative 3 over 2x plus 4. Yay! Hopefully you got that correct and you give yourself a giant star. I did it. I did it. All right, same plan here. I would like for you to try to find slope, find y-intercept, and write equation. Please do. Please do. All right, you should have given that a shot. You can see that this is an increasing slope. We are going to make our rectangle. Cool. The rise then would be 3 units. The run would be 1. In lowest terms, that's 3. Awesome. Sauce. Here we go. And the y-intercept, y-axis, drive it down, drive it down, drive it down. Where does the graph hit the y-axis? Right here at 0, 4. Ooh, that's the same one as the last time. So the y-intercept, the b value there is 4. It's just the y-coordinate at that location. So the equation then is y equals 3x plus 4. That's the graph of the line. This is known as linear algebra, as I stated earlier, line algebra, straight line algebra. That is the formula or the equation for that. All right, these two, try them, try them, try them. We have 6 left. Let's do it. All right, you should have given that a shot. Let's see how we did. This problem here, we can see that there's a decreasing slope. Yay! If we build our rectangle, we get a rise of 1 and a run of 3. So my slope is negative 1/3. Awesome. For the y-intercept then, we have a y-axis. Where does the y-axis hit the graph? It looks like it's hitting it right at the origin. 0, 0. So the b value here is 0. It's the y coordinate there. So it looks like the origin. So we get y equals mx plus b. Now it's in mathematics, we don't write plus 0 because there isn't a change. It's that 0 property. When we add by 0, there isn't any change to the problem. So we actually leave the y-intercept completely off there. So your final answer in simplest form really is y equals negative 1/3 x. And we keep off that plus 0. Hopefully you did okay on that. If you've not tried this next one, I'd like you to try it now. And then come back, really for real, try it, right? This is pre-algebra. This is the foundation of everywhere we're going. All right, I'm gonna take it away. Now let's see how we do. This is an increasing line, so we're gonna say positive. I'm gonna build, turn, down, and we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looking like a rise of 5. 1, 2, 3, looking like a run of 3. Double checking my work there. I think I got that. I think I'm good. The y-intercept, sometimes those lines are so small it's hard to tell. The y-intercept is the place where the graph crosses that y-axis. Drive it down. Cool. The y-intercept then would be located here at 0, 3. The b value there is at 3. So my equation, your equation that you should have gotten is y equals 5/3 x plus 3. Boom. Check your work, give yourself a star if you got it. Yay. All right, we're at 11 minutes. We have 4 left. If we go 1 problem per minute, we're out of here at like 15, 16 minutes. Sweet. This problem here, we have to get the slope first. So why don't you go ahead and try to do slope, y-intercept, and write the equation for both of the problems on the screen. Go. All right. You should have had a chance to do that. You can pick any 2 data points on the screen. I'm going to pick these 2. Decreasing line. Go down, turn corner, turn, boom. 1, 2, 3. Rise. 1. The slope of that line is negative 3 over 1. That is the same as negative 3. Cool. So I'm actually going to erase that because it looks like I'm going to need some space for my y-intercept. So the slope is negative 3 in lowest terms. The y-intercept is the place where the graph crosses the y-axis. Here's my y-axis. The graph is crossing way down here at 0, negative something. 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like negative 5. So that is my y-intercept. My y-intercept is negative 5. So my equation then is y equals negative 3x minus 5. Check it out. See if you got that right. Did you? That would be awesome. And if you didn't, rewind, watch again. It's all about getting there. Doesn't matter where you start, it's where you finish. You can do this. Next problem, the slope of this line is 0. That is 0. Think of slope. Person plus minus undefined and 0. All right. So the y-axis then is the place where the graph crosses the y-axis, or I meant to say the y-intercept, is happening here. Right there. 0 up 1, 2, 3 units. 0, 3. So that b then is at 3. Check out what happens here. So there, our equation then would be y equals 0, x plus 3. But in math, whenever we multiply by 0, no matter what the x input is, this is all going to turn to 0. So when we simplify that, we end up with the equation y equals 3. It came from y equals 0x plus 3, but when simplified, our equation is y equals 3. So our form is still y equals mx plus b as it looks like here on the left, that same type of form. It's just that our slope is 0. So we lost that 0x. Just be aware of that. We're at 14 minutes. We have 2 left. Try these 2 and we're out, okay? Let's go 2 for 2 now. Think of this like a little quick quiz, check-in. All right, here we go. Let's see how we did. The first one has a slope of negative, and we are going to find the slope. Let's see, we have a 2 over 2, which is a negative 1 slope. Cool. So far I get y equals negative 1x. That's what I have so far. I go to get my y-intercept then. It's the place where the graph crosses the y-axis. And that's happening at 1, 2, looking like 3, at 0, 3. Right there is the y-intercept. So that b value is 3. So my y-intercept is at 3. My equation then would be y equals negative 1x plus 3. Now in math class, you do not have to have that 1 there. So you could go y equals negative x plus 3. That is saying the same thing as that. So either one is acceptable. All right, we're at 15 minutes. Let's finish it up. Last problem of the day. We have a positive slope here, so make sure that you have a positive slope. All right. Our rise is 1. Our run is 1, 2, 3, 4. My y-intercept is the place where the graph crosses the y-axis, so let's check it out, see what happens here. Negative 1, negative 2, looking like negative 3, so at 0, negative 3. So that's my b value. So my equation then is y equals 1/4 x minus 3. Check it out, 1/4 x minus 3. So for summary of today's work, our equation, you need to get a slope, just like we've been doing. The y-intercept, we just talked about, it's the place where the graph hits the y-axis. It's always 0, comma something. That something is your b. So then we would simply plug in mx plus b. So here's your m and here's your b. That is the answer we're looking for in our work today. I can write in slope intercept form y equals mx plus b. Have a glorious night.